Welcome, welcome. This is Dean the broker, broker of Dean and Co. Realty. What's up, people? Holla at me today. I got a guest with me. She's gonna go ahead and introduce herself. Let her talk.
Sheila Velasquez. I'm out here in Houston representing Dean and Co. Realty. We're out here in Houston making it happen.
We making it happen. H Town, stand up, please. Right. So very interesting. I have a lot of people DM me, email me, call me, reaching out to me with a lot of questions because a lot of people don't understand the buying process. A lot of people don't know what it takes to be able to list your property. A lot of people don't know what it takes to be able to invest. So I wanted to set this up today just so we can get some Q&A and we give the people what they're asking for. All right.
All right.
One of the first questions that people always ask me, right, is how much do I need for a down payment? Typically, buying always comes down to, right, finances. Can I truly afford the price of a home, right? So we're going to answer that question today. And I always tell people it depends. It depends on what you approve for. It depends on your credit score, right? For FHA, you can go 3.5%. And honestly, you can even go lower than that. It just depends. If you're going conventional, it can start at 3%, right? So some people do a conventional deal at 5%. Some can go as low as 3%. It's not always like a myth bust is people think you have to put 20% down when you go conventional, and that's not necessarily true. So you can confirm and verify what I'm saying with any lender, and I'm sure they'll be able to verify that. Now, we have VA loans. With VA loans, there's no down payment requirement. So for all my veterans, VA loans, zero down. So definitely, do you want to speak to that or say something to that? Your experience with clients and finances or approval conversations?
Yeah, it's just best to find out where you are first, to get that pre-approval. Talk to the lenders. We partner with lenders that we can connect you with and just see where you're at. Because
Hmm.
even with a down payment assistant, you also have to realize that it doesn't really matter what you have in your pocket at that time. Because, like I said, when you connect yourself with a lender, there's programs available to you, and you don't know what loan program or what loan product you may fit into.
Correct.
So it's best to get yourself started with a lender.
Right. And which is dope. And I'm glad that was brought up because you have down payment assistance programs, right? I call them DPAs, right? To help you with some of most of all your down payment, right? You have ways to be creative to be able to buy your rate down. We'll talk about that later. You also have seller's contribution that can help with your closing costs. So there's so many creative ways that can help with your finances and with your down payments. All right. That's good. Good stuff. Now, one of the next questions that people ask often is what's the first step in the buying process? Right. And I always tell people, personally, with me, with all my clients, anybody I work with, one of the first steps is the pre approval process. Now, just be aware everyone that's buying a house may not be going through traditional financing or lending or conventional financing. Some people have cash, right? Some people
Yes.
drop that
Yes.
$600,000 bag and buy it cash.
For
So
sure.
don't offend somebody that's buying something cash. But for all of us that need to, finance, one of the first things is to get a pre-approval. So how
Mhm.
do you facilitate that, and how do you talk to your clients about the pre-approval process and what they need and what that entails?
Well, I always let them know it's best to see how much house you can buy.
Right.
So before I, encourage my clients to go shopping,
Hmm.
we don't want to go shopping for something that you may not be able to purchase. It depends on what you're approved for.
Right.
And then I don't want to take you shopping and you fall in love with a house and then you're not approved for that house.
Right. Right.
So I
Hmm.
always let them know that it's best to get pre-approved,
Hmm.
get with a lender, find out where you are, and even there's lenders out there that'll help you get to where you need to be. So there's a lot of assistance and a lot of help out there for you.
Right. And I like that because primarily it's about staying within a budget.
Yes.
Right? Because even one of my last clients, I was able to help them buy a home, down payment assistance program. She got a great interest rate because she bought new construction.
Mhm.
The seller contributed finances for the closing.
Mhm.
Right? The great thing is that she was paying $1,600 in rent, right? And her mortgage with everything included is $1,800. So she's only $200-300 out of her pocket more from renting than she is now being a homeowner. So uh, that's just good information to have, right?
Yes.
So one of the other questions I get this often, people call me all the time. Some people usually, in the real estate business, people want to move as of yesterday, right?
Yes,
People want to buy
for
as of
sure.
yesterday. And it's just like, okay, give me time, right? Let me
Yes.
find you something. So people want to move fast, and we understand that time does kill deals. And so one of the other questions is, how long does a home buying process take, right? So for me personally, I've dealt with lenders that can close in 20 days.
Yes.
Some can close in 15, depending on what you're doing, what type of lending product you're using. You could be using hard money, you can be using conventional, FHA, whatever, right? You got different lending products. But primarily, I always say it's between a range, standardly, between a 30 to 45 day range, right?
Yes.
Just to go ahead and give, sometimes variables happen. You may not know.
Mhm.
Extra paperwork, extra documents, you may have to pay something down, bring your credit cards down to bring your score up. So there's all type of things that can happen. So it varies depending on financing, inspections,
Mhm.
and then negotiations.
Yes.
Because sometimes after you get an inspection, now you got to negotiate the repairs,
Mhm.
right? So that could
Yeah.
take a while. So all these things are imperative when it comes to time frames. So 30 to 45 days, pretty typical, pretty standard. But in real
Mhm.
estate, I would say there's nothing standard in real
Right.
estate.
That's for
So
sure.
what would you say to that?
Yeah, I like that. I like that, Dean, because one thing that I say to my clients is that you're also a part of that process.
Right.
Making sure that nothing changes during that
Hmm.
process. Make sure you don't change a job. Make
Right.
sure you don't add more debt, to debt to income ratio.
Hmm.
So making sure that you do your part so the buying process can go smooth on your end.
Right.
And then if it's not on your end, whatever happens on the lender end, they're gonna work that out.
Right.
So just making sure that you stay in the place that you're supposed to be in so that this transaction can go smoothly.
Right. And I love that too, because that's just a part of it. So it all depends. There's variables, but you could definitely get it done. One of the other major questions is people say, what credit score do I need? You have a lot
Mm,
of lenders out here saying, I can get you approved with a 450,
yes.
right? And you can't get approved, can't get nobody approved with a
Right.
450 sometimes. But I have seen people get approved with a 530 with a
Yeah.
FHA,
Yeah.
right? Typically, I say if you want to have a strong profile, 620, right? People can get approved with a 580, of course, with FHA, things like that. But at 620, it is said that you can get conventional with 620.
Right.
FHA, you definitely can be approved as well. But the better the score, that's all I always want
Mhm.
to tell people. Like, you can get approved probably at a 530, 550, 580, 600, 620.
Mhm.
But the better the score, don't forget, the better the rate.
Yes.
So that's what you really want to
There it
understand,
is.
that the better the score is, the better rate you get. So
Yes.
anything on that one?
Yeah, that's important for everybody out there to know, with that score. We have partners also that we work with. So even if
Mm-hmm.
you're not there, you may have to wait a little longer, not too long, because we have partners out there that help you with credit solutions.
Right.
So that we refer a lot of our clients to, a lot of our customers to work on that. It won't take that long. Sometimes it's as long as 120 days.
Yep.
So once again, the work you put in and is you're going to get what you expect out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to put the work in. So we have a lot of help. We have a lot of resources. So just come to us and come to, us here at Dean & Co Realty, and trust me, we're going to put you on the right track.
That's definitely great because, it's very important to understand your scoring and understand this too. I want to put this in there, is that
Yeah.
all scores not created equal, right?
Yeah.
So some people looking at difference from, looking at your TransUnion, or you may be looking at Credit
Mhm.
Karma or your Experian, you may be looking at that, right?
Yeah.
So there are different scoring systems.
Yes.
So just understand that, right? So you may say, I got a, 750, but there's a different score when it comes to buying a car, auto
Yes.
loans. There's a
Mhm.
different score when it comes to purchasing a home,
Mhm.
right? There's a different score when it comes to getting credit cards.
Yes, indeed.
And so there's different scoring systems. So just please understand that. And if your score come back different, sometimes you have a lower score on Credit Karma, and then you go and do, right, want
Yeah.
to purchase a house, and the score is higher than what you've seen. So it all depends. It's different variables. So definitely want to interject that. Now, one of the other questions, what should I look for in a home inspection? I'd had certain situations where home inspections could just almost kill a deal, right? It can just, it could be a headache. It could be a nightmare, because the inspector's job is to go in and notate every single thing. They notate every little nut and bolt. They
Yes.
notate every little screw,
Mm-hmm.
right? Anything. Some things that are not even just, that serious or that dire, but when you're dealing with a buyer, right, they take everything pretty much over the top. So some of the things I want to talk about, some of the major issues is the foundation,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's one of the
Sure.
things you definitely want to look for.
Mm-hmm.
But we here in Houston, so the foundation shift all the
Oh,
time,
yes.
right? Even if you got a new construction, your foundation can shift within a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very typical here. Now, another thing you want to look at is actually the roof, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
want to look at the roof, make sure everything, the shingles. Now, I would say this. Most people say, oh, we got a new roof. Just because they changed the shingles,
Right.
it's not a new roof, right? It's a difference
Correct.
between changing shingles
Yes.
and having a new roof. Taking the shingles off, taking the plaster off, taking the wood off, having the roof all the way bared down,
Mm-hmm.
replacing all of that, and then putting the shingles on top. That's a new roof,
Right.
just to say it. So just because they have new shingles, don't classify it as a new roof, right?
Mm-hmm.
HVAC. Now we are in H-Town. So having AC is very important. It's imperative. So that is one of the systems that you want to make sure that actually works.
Right.
So getting a professional out for that, looking at the HVAC system
Mm-hmm.
is good, right? Plumbing. Plumbing is another huge one,
Oh, yes.
right? If it's something dealing with your plumbing, I understand. So that's a major issue that you want to look at. Electrical. Electrical is another major issue,
Mm-hmm.
right? Anything electrical, I understand. That's a major issue. But other stuff, cosmetic stuff, can be fixed later, right?
Mm-hmm.
Divots in the wall,
That's right.
holes in the walls. Maybe it's not your favorite flooring. Maybe it's not your favorite countertops, something like that, right? So what would you say to something like that as far as your experience with clients and inspections and just knowing about the whole renovation, repair, negotiation process?
Yeah, a couple of things I want to say to that, Dean, is one, we never advise our clients to skip inspections. I don't care if it's a new build,
That's
if
true.
it's a brand new home. And once again, especially here in Houston,
Yep.
even if it's a brand new home, you never skip. I will never advise you. We will never advise you or give you an opinion to skip an inspection. So that's some of the things that some of the clients coming into this realize up front. We are able, yes, a lot of times get you the DPA. Yes, a lot of times, get the seller's contribution to cover the closing costs. But you're always going to have to come out of pocket a lot of times for some things. Not a lot out of pocket, but be prepared for that.
Yep.
To pay for that inspection. Make sure you take that option, period, and have that option fee. We can negotiate that. That is negotiable.
Right.
But you do not want to skip that inspection. And another thing that I would advise and give opinion on to some of the clients out there that's coming our way, I'm sure, is that make sure when your inspector go out there to inspect the home, you can go out there, but try to go out there toward the end of the inspection.
Right.
Don't go out there because that could be a distraction to the inspector and they can miss things if you're
Right.
asking a lot of questions. Give them time to do what it is that they came out there to do and then come in on the end. And then you can ask your questions and you could be present in that moment. So that's some of the things I'll say about the inspection so that it's thorough, so that you get a good inspection and you know what you're going into.
Now, it's just jogging my brain. I'm not saying any names because this inspector is a great inspector, right? But one of my clients was out, inspector was out inspecting the property, and he locked the keys in the home, right? Never had this issue with him ever before,
Right.
right? But because maybe he was talking to the client, right?
Mm-hmm.
Threw him off a little bit. He locked the keys in the door inside the house. So we had to go ahead and get a locksmith, and he had to pay for that out of pocket. So
Right.
just little things like that, just to be aware of. Now, we're not going to be able to get to everyone's questions today, but believe me, I'm going to answer these questions, but I'm going to go ahead and fast forward a little bit to get to some of the other questions. One of the a general question that people ask me all the time is, now is it a good time to buy now, right? And that's one of the major questions. Some people ask me, is it a good time to sell? So I always say it depends on the situation. It depends on interest rates. It depends on the market trends and the goals. The goals all matter, right? But we can always help you navigate through that. It depends on, like, some people assuming rates, right? If you got a good rate, if you got a 4 point something percent and you selling it and that rate is assumable, you could have a hot commodity, right? It just all depends. You'll be able to have a lot of equity in some homes in some parts of the city, right? It just depends on what the situation is. So there's a lot of variables, but there's definitely options. And sometimes there's no options. Sometimes just say, hey, stay in this home for 2 years, and then we got to look at the market again.
Right.
Because I tell people all the time, the market dictates the prices. The market dictates, right,
Right.
what your home is worth.
Right.
We have to run CMAs, right? So whatever your home comes back, whatever the comps are, that's what we dictate the price upon.
Right.
So what would you say today? Is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to sell? What you think?
Yeah. You know, to me, this is my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's always a good time to buy. And the reason why I say that is because you're buying anyway. You either buying somebody else's property
Yeah.
for them or you buying your own.
Yeah.
Because if you're paying rent, and especially now the cost of renting or leasing a home, the high cost of that now is that you're pouring into, or you are contributing to, or you are actually helping another homeowner or property owner purchase their property
Yeah.
through what you're doing. When I feel like that could be you investing in your legacy in your home and building equity in your own home and purchasing your own home and becoming a homeowner.
Yeah.
You know, instead of helping somebody else do that.
Yeah.
Now, if you have to rent, I believe for a short amount of time, you're just doing that to maybe work on your credit.
Yeah.
You may be doing that to bring in some additional income to so that you can be prepared and you know, building up for a down payment if you're paying a fair rent amount. But other than that, I would say it's a good time to buy because you're buying anyway.
And you know, it's Dean and Co. We build legacy, so we definitely about legacy building, generating wealth. And I tell people all the time, right now in the market currently, right,
Yeah.
in the month of July 2025, that this is a buyer's market.
Yes.
You can take advantage of this,
Yes.
right? So I never seen these contributions ever, right? These are record-breaking contributions, right? You have everybody throwing everything at you, the kitchen sink, the furniture, the everything, right? Even these new builds, which goes into our next question, right? Can you help me with new construction or investment properties, right? So yes, I do help with new construction. We do at Dean & Co Realty. All types of real estate, residential, new builds, investment properties, land deals, whether it's commercial or residential, right? So definitely help with that. And to speak to the investment part, I have some people that want to buy land and build, which is fine. We can do that. There's different products for that. I have some people that want to just buy new construction. You have builders that's building all over right now, especially here, an influx of people are coming. So there's builders putting stuff up almost every day.
Yeah.
And then investors. There's some people that just want to buy, hold, rent out, right? And we definitely can help with that. So either way, that's something that we definitely help with. And what would you say your expertise or your outlook would be on somebody that want to buy new construction or investment properties?
Yeah, I just, you know, this is a really, really good time because, like I said before, a lot of people are renting right now. Right now, a lot of people are leasing. But whatever their fears may be for not buying, whatever their reasons may be for not buying, right now, a lot of people are going into rental homes. So this is a great time for investing in property. It's a great time investing in duplexes or, you know, the fourplex or whatever that may be.
Yep.
This is a great time to do that,
Yep.
to generate, you know, income and to also provide a need for people. That there's a lot of people that cannot afford to buy, or a lot of people that have fears behind buying that are renting right now. So this is a great opportunity for an investor.
It's great to see, and it's crazy how the house hacking thing is booming right now, right? Everybody live on one side, rent the other sides out. I've done that before, right? With a fourplex. So I'm definitely a fan of it. I tell people all the time, it's just like, yes, I'm a broker. Yes, I'm a realtor, but I'm more of an investor, right? You know, I'm more of an investor, Airbnbs, buy land. I sit on properties, and everything I'm buying now currently, I'm not selling. I'm holding, right? So this is for generational wealth, things I'm putting inside a trust, right? So that's another thing we need to talk about and understand. Eventually we'll get to that. So, you know, those are some of the things that we offer, some of the things that we can do. And one of the last questions is, some people ask, like, what happens if I change my mind? If I go through the whole process, if I put the offer in, if I change my mind, some people get so intimidated by the whole process, because we'll tell you the truth, the process could be pretty lengthy, right?
Yeah,
The lenders come back asking for 1 million documents, right? And at the end of the day, it's underwriting, right? They're doing their jobs. Underwriters come back with more things, more documents. So it could be a very lengthy process. But one of the questions is, like, people ask all the time, what happened if I change my mind? So what I tell people is, as long as whatever the contract says, we have to go by the contract. right? Because if you can't get funding or if you change your mind, whatever else, if it says 20 days, you have up to the 20 days. If it's 21, 22, 23 days, earnest money gone, right? So it all depends on what's in the contract. If you ain't within your option period, sometimes it don't have to be 7 days, people. Everything's negotiable. Every blank space on that contract means that you can negotiate that. So if you can have 10 days on there, you can have 15 days on there, right? Whatever y'all agreed upon, as long as it's within that option period, right? You can usually exit without a penalty. But I'm telling you, if you pass those dates that's in the contract, you're gonna lose your earnest money. So what would you say to that?
Yes, that's true. And that's why Dean and Co Realty, that we are out here doing what our clients need us to do.
Right.
We're staying on top of deadlines. We're really, really good at doing those things.
Yeah.
And so I do want to toot our horn on that because we make sure that our clients don't lose. We're in the business of making sure that our clients are very well taken care of and that you don't lose money. Even when it comes to rentals.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to rentals, I always speak with the listing agents. I speak with who I need to speak to beforehand to make sure that my client is not even losing application money.
Right.
So let alone earnest money or option fee money, you know, that they're losing out on, you know, any kind of money in any kind of way. So we always make sure that we take care of our clients. We always treat our clients as if it's us.
Right. So realtors, pay attention to this, right? Any real estate professional is that we got to understand whatever's in that contract. We got to be very careful and very diligent when we drawing up these contracts. Of course, we can't practice law because we're not attorneys, but you got to understand the verbiage in the contract because you're going to be able to protect, you know, your client in a proper way. And understand this, right? So if you change your mind, depending on what part of the contract you're in, you got to understand that it's a couple of things that's going to happen.
Yes.
One of the things that's happening is not only you have earnest money and option money. That's what's going on. This is Dean the Broker with Dean and Co Realty. If you're in the market of buying a house, selling your home, or you want to invest, come holler at us, Dean and Co Realty, Dean the Broker. Big ticket items.
Yeah.
And so depending on how far along you are, those could be all the funds that could be at risk. So we just want to make sure everybody is aware of that. And we thank y'all today for doing the Q&A with us. If you have any more questions, DM me. You can go to Dean and Co page. You can, where can we find you at?
Oh, you can find me, Sheila Velasquez. You can Google me, and you'll find me. Just Google that name, Sheila Velasquez, and everywhere I am will pop up.
So you're on TikTok, you're on IG, yeah, Facebook. Okay, that's good. All right. On everything. So you can go ahead and follow us. If you got any questions, you can contact me, DM me. I'm always happy to help, always happy to give information, and we don't gatekeep. We give you the game and make sure you're all right. All right, people, thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you for coming. Thank our guest today, Peter Velasquez.